Hey y'all, it's the Slav. Welcome back. And now it is time to look at the contents of Littoral Commander Australia. The second item that got dropped on my porch yesterday. It is a expansion module for Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific. So you do not want to buy this by itself. You must already own Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific because that's what you're going to play this with. There are scenarios that are played on the 4 maps that are included with this module. And there are also scenarios that retrofit Australian forces either in place of or in conjunction with U.S. forces on those 4 maps that come with the Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific game. So, start off, nice cover on this one, sort of in line with the graphics approach of the 2 previous modules or games in this series. And enough about that. As I transition to the next components, this was designed by a couple of Australian professional military educators and in conjunction with Sebastian Bay, of course, as well. So we will start with the rulebook. Much smaller rulebook in this one. This one is staple bound, and there really, or maybe, let's see, forget how many of these pages are rules. You do have some additions of rules to the series, and we start off with that same quick start guide that we have in the Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific rulebook. So you see we've got about 16 pages of rules material or additions, and then we go to the scenarios. We have 13 scenarios in this game, and as I mentioned in the intro, some of these scenarios do take place on the 4 new maps that are included with Littoral Commander Australia, obviously taking place in parts of the Pacific that Australia would be considered to be taking the lead in. One of them even includes Port Darwin. So we'll see that in a little while. And some pretty neat areas that the other maps cover. Those of us who've been at this for a while and got a lot of experience playing World War II games might appreciate some of those maps. But that is the rule/scenario book. Got the reference sheet on the back telling you what all the different Australian units, giving you the overview of their capabilities. So that's it for the scenario and rule book. You got the same sub-trackers and same player aid cards that you do in the Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific, so I'm not going to really go into those right now. We'll take a look at the counter sheet. This counter sheet is strictly just Australian forces, so this is what you're going to be adding into the mix here for Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific. You've got infantry here, you've got light infantry, you've got dismounted infantry. Dismounting is probably the biggest addition to the series in this module. So infantry units can either be mounted, in which case they're operating in their vehicles, or they can be dismounted like these units here. And you can see up there in the upper right corner, the D inside the hex symbol means that they are dismounted. They basically cannot leave the hex they're in. So you're going to be adding that, you're going to be keeping track of them written records where they are in the hex, kind of like submarines. And they're basically stuck in that hex unless you get the vehicles back in there to mount them up and move them. You've got task force markers here. In this game, predictably, the task force names are Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. You can also see that the mill deck markers and the ISR sub markers, proxy force markers, well, not the proxy force, the SOF markers, all have the little AUS addition on them to keep them separate from the Marine ones in Indo-Pacific. And you've got the little Australian flag markers there, control markers, to add to the game. So moving on from the counters, we'll get the corresponding unit trackers for the Australians. And we see that these also have been added the space value mechanic in these as well, so everything blends in perfectly with Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific and Littoral Commander Baltic. Some of the units the Australians have: HIMARS troop, regular artillery, towed artillery, And I did misspeak, as I knew I would in the video for the Indo-Pacific 2nd edition. I got the space value mechanic all gummed up. So you have these two differently colored triangles there. They are both space values. They are different kinds of space values, though. One of them is for aviation units, aviation space values, and the other one is general purpose space values. So basically everything else, how many troops you can cram on the ship. So the aviation space values generally are going to control which kind of JCCs you can embark on the ship, because the almost all the aviation in this game comes into play through the JCC mechanic. And we've got the Australian JCCs. Haven't really gone too much into detail to these. So here you can see, for instance, this mill deck has a space value of 1 that it takes up if you embark it on a ship, whereas the Hilo ASW has an aviation space value of 1 if you embark it on the ship. So that's how you keep those two different space values straight when you embark them. Just got some, certainly have different imagery on some of these. Some of the capabilities are different. Like here, this Collins class sub, this is certainly an Australian vessel here. So there are some differences in some things that are pretty much the same as in Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific. And this brings us to the neatest part of the game, and that is the maps. So same graphic representation, obviously, as in Indo-Pac and Baltic, just fighting over some different areas. So here's that aforementioned Port Darwin map. Darwin is, where the heck is, right here. And you got some of that rough Australian terrain there, impassable hexes a little farther away from the coast. And I'll just immediately jump to some of the stuff that I thought was neat. I started opening some of these maps up, and I'm thinking, am I playing a World War II game here? We've got the Kokoda Track map. So we've got the Kokoda Trail here. There's Port Moresby. So if you didn't know any better, you'd think you're playing a World War II game with this. So you're getting to fight over some neat terrain with modern forces. And there are scenarios, obviously, that feature all these maps of the game. Here's the other really cool one, I thought. The Solomon Islands map. So you can fight over the Solomons again. Look at that. Iron Bottom Sound, indispensable strait. Neat stuff here. And there is at least one scenario I saw that looks like it is almost entirely naval forces. So yeah, I'm talking to you, Jeff. I'm just really dying to play that one. Get ships blasting at each other here. This is like really littoral here. You know, you've got lots of blue, smaller islands, dropping Marines all over the place, using them to blast ships at sea. This really looks like this is going to be cool. So that is the quick look at Littoral Commander Australia, a module to be used with Littoral Commander Indo-Pacific, not a standalone game. So please make sure nobody mistakes that and gets all upset because they buy Australia and then can't play it because they don't have Indo-Pac. This is the first of planned national expansions for the Littoral Commander series. Obviously, Japan would be another great addition to the Indo-Pac world here. And then in Baltic, there are some plans to, I think, introduce some more Baltic nations. I think I've heard Sweden maybe next, or Denmark. Obviously, Amerislav hopes they add Poland to the mix. And maybe some of the other Baltic nations, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. I think Germany will probably get added as well, obviously. So lots to come in this series. Looking forward to it all. Looking forward to really digging into this and getting this on the table. So that'll be it for now. Obviously, the biggest thing I've got coming, Deluxe 3 Dog. I got my shipping notice from Big Brown. they have it in their possession. It is making its way across the country, and that should be getting on my table in Wednesday. So look forward to definitely getting an unboxing on that one when it gets here. And hope you all enjoy your weekend wherever you are in this world if you're watching me overseas. Thanks also for all the new subscribers. I'm inching closer and closer to 100 subscribers. Yeah, I know, not a big goal, but if I could break over 100, that would be great. Thanks to Kevin at the big board. We were chatting on Hexy's stream on Thursday night, and he shared me with a few of his friends. So thank you for that, and I'll see you all later. Bye.